Hey guys, welcome back to the A to Z Dotabuff Top 100 replay review series. This is the 4th episode, and in this one we're going to be looking at the #1 ranked Anti-Mage on Dotabuff, who is none other than VG.Black. He has over 250 games on Anti-Mage, a 74% win rate, and an average GPM of 760. So very impressive Anti-Mage, probably one of the best Anti-Mages in the world. And according to Dotabuff, the #1 ranked Anti-Mage. So I apologize to any Burning fanboys out there. But we are looking at Black today. So anyway, we're going to be looking at his starting items. He has a Stout Shield, 2 sets of Tangos, and a Salve. This is a pretty regen heavy build, but as with most carries, you kind of want to itemize towards your lane. So I assume he's going to be against what looks like an off-lane Doom or maybe a dual lane with Silencer or Lion. So he's going to be expecting a lot of harass. And Anti-Mage is pretty low HP, so the regen makes quite a bit of sense. In this game, we're mostly going to be looking at itemization, item progression, skill builds, farming patterns, and when he decides to join fights with his team and when he decides to farm, stuff like that. So he's gonna secure the rune for his team and go back to his lane to block. Notice how he hasn't leveled up his first spell yet. Usually as Anti-Mage you ideally want to level Mana Break, but sometimes you're gonna be ganked in the early levels and you might need that level 1 blink just in case there's an early smoke gank or anything. Just so you can live through anything unexpected. So he is gonna do a fairly decent block. The creeps mean in a good place. And looking at the map, it looks like it is indeed a Doom in his lane. So we'll see how he reacts to this and how he plays against this offlane Doom. Just doing a good job denying and last hitting. And he does skill Mana Break level 1 and immediately starts trading with the Doom. And still trading, still trading. This Doom is definitely out of mana by now. Okay, so what that little exchange did was the reason why Anti-Mage is pretty good against a lot of offlaners. You can do this thing where you get to lane and you immediately start trading with them with Mana Break. And even though you're both going to get pretty low, you come out way ahead because you burn all their mana. So this Doom is basically a melee creep for the next like minute and a half until he regenerates all his mana. So he's going to be pretty useless in lane. Basically for the next few minutes he's going to get absolute free farm as the Anti-Mage. And all he had to do was burn a Salve. So the regen heavy build was a pretty good choice so far. And notice what he did there. He saw the Doom clarity up, so he blinked towards him. And good carry players will do this. They'll be pretty aggressive in lane against the offlaner. They'll try to apply a lot of pressure. They won't just passively farm in lane. And the way that Black blinked towards the Doom, he did it in a way such that he was able to run back to the lane to ensure that he didn't miss any creeps. So you need to keep an eye on your creeps and see how low they are. He saw that none of them were really in danger of dying anytime soon, so he was able to blink towards the Doom. And so far Black is last hitting pretty well. He's only missed I think maybe 2 CS, but that was just because he was trading with the Doom early to try to burn his mana and secure his lane control. So probably a worthwhile trade. And he does pick up the boots from the side chop. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be rushing a Battle Fury. I see that build a lot on some pub Anti-Mages, and I don't think it's the best way to play. You really need to go for these intermediate items. And yeah, he's going to pick up a 4-man shield right here. So you need to go for these intermediate items to make sure your laning stage is stable. And they just help you farm a little bit faster anyway, so it's fine. He also did pick up 2 points in the stats at level 4. So he's going to probably go for the 1-1-1-1 build by level 6. So a point in each spell by level 6 and 2 in stats. Stats are the best for farming. They increase your farming speed the most. Mana Break helps against heroes, but since he has a relatively free lane, since he just dominated the Doom from level 1, and now the Doom's just been like rotating around the jungle, not really bothering him too much. So he doesn't really need to hit heroes. And there's not a lot of nuke damage. So he feels pretty safe just going for stats, increasing his farming speed. And it looks like he will pick up the components of the treads next. A little bit more elaboration on why you need to go for these intermediate items. Battle Fury is not an item that you buy and suddenly you get like an extra 100 GPM per 100 gold per minute. It's not like a Midas where you're just kind of like Midas a creep and you instantly increase your net worth. You actually have to have like decent farming speed. You have to actually hit creeps, right, to increase your farm with Battle Fury. So if you have Battle Fury Brown Boots, you're not going to farm fast because you can't kill creeps fast enough. So you need treads to be able to farm fast. And since you're getting treads anyway, you might as well just get them early. You're not going to go into the jungle with Brown Boots Battle Fury. You have to farm your treads in lane anyway, so just get them early. Helps you survive in lane, helps you farm slightly faster with the attack speed and damage. There's sort of this obsession with getting like a really good timing, like, oh, if you don't get your Battle Fury by 12 minutes, you're bad. But it's really not the case. You can farm quite fast even without a Battle Fury. At least for the first like 20 minutes or so, it's fine. And we see Black being very aggressive under tower. He knows he's in no danger of dying. Pretty good vision on the map of where the enemy heroes are. And the Doom can't really threaten him. He also did pick up the Quelling Blade, and that's just a good tool to help you farm faster. Obviously a staple once you get your Battle Fury. Increases your farming speed by quite a bit. And he did go for the 1-1-1-1 build, as I was saying before. Just gives the best mix of farming speed and utility and survivability. Level 1 of Spell Shield is the best value point. You get the most value out of the point, as we see a Doom going on here, but he does have Strength Treads and Poor Man's Shield, so these right clicks aren't doing much. And the Lion's out of range, so this gank is gonna fail. Yeah, he's gonna be able to blink out in a few seconds. And nicely dodged by Black, dodging the Quap ultimate. It was a bit obvious though. But as I was saying before, if he had just gone for Brown Boots and rushed the Battle Fury, he probably would have died there. He wouldn't have the extra bulk from the Strength Treads, and he wouldn't have the Poor Man's Shield block. So the Doom's right clicks would have actually done quite a bit of damage. Yet another reason why you need these sort of intermediate items to make you a lot stronger. Anti-Mage is actually very strong in the first 10 or so minutes when he has Treads Poor Man's Shield. Very few heroes can actually fight against him. We also do notice that he's picked up a Teleport Scroll. Anti-Mage is a hero that you sort of want to stay in lane and farm, but Black is looking across the map. If you've noticed his sort of perspective, he's actually looking across the map in between last hits, and that's something that's really important and also pretty hard to do. Sometimes you need to sort of time your last hits, but once you're like mid-animation, you don't really need to look at yourself killing the creep. You can sort of look around. It just takes a lot of practice, but once you get used to it, it's something that will really help your carry play. And he does pick up the Ring of Health to help him sustain in lane. Pretty standard. And I'm curious to see if he is going to go for the Broadsword or the Perseverance. Normally people like to go for the Broadsword now because you can buy it from the side shop, and it does help you farm a bit faster. But he is a bit starved for slots, so he might go for the Perseverance. We'll see what he decides on doing. And good tread switching before blinking and just removing the curse. That's sort of a little annoyance. Again, looking at the map in between last hits, it's extremely important to do this in this game. As you see, a very aggressive blink. And no big deal. Just gonna last hit some creeps while I'm being harassed by 2 supports. And even though he's disarmed, he's running into the middle of them, making them waste all their spells. And 240 HP, who cares? I have Strength Treads, I have 4-man shield, Ring of Health. Just gonna run at 2 supports and make them run away from me. Again, this is the strength of getting those small items in between your boots and Battle Fury. Really helps you have a stable and strong laning phase. But as I was saying before, it's extremely important to keep track of what's going on in this game, because there are large cooldowns that Anti-Mage is really afraid of, right? If we look at the heroes on the other team, who is Black going to be afraid of this game? He's going to be afraid of getting doomed and getting quap ulted and maybe getting global silenced if there are enough heroes around. So keeping track of the quap ulti and the doom are pretty important. So especially in this kind of situation where you're in a pub and you really can't communicate with your teammates well, it's good to sort of increase your map awareness by looking at fights, especially if all you're doing is just last hitting creeps. Alright, so he did pick up the Ring of Regen. I'm guessing he was just a bit low from that trade with the Lion and Silencer and wanted some fast regen. He's probably going Vlad's anyway, so not a huge deal. Just making himself always full HP, always pretty survivable, not in danger of dying at any time. Dying as Anti-Mage in the early stages is probably one of the worst things that can happen. So he's just being extra careful to maintain full HP at all times. And he did pick up the Perseverance. Yeah, this is probably just because he values the regen and he doesn't have enough slots. So looking at his farm, 72 last hits at 10 minutes. Very good farm. 30 denies as well, so he's keeping lane control and denying the Doom a lot of experience, so that's very good too. And his Battle Fury should be coming in maybe 3 or 4 minutes, depending on how much farm he gets. And it looks like there's a gank coming, but blinks out of it in time, and should be no problem at all. Again, look at his HP, 1000 HP. He has blink on a 7-second cooldown, and he has spell shield, so very hard to kill. Also has damage block and lots of regen. So he sees 2 people are top, TP's mid for a little bit of farm. Keeping track of the most dangerous heroes and where they are is very important. As I said before, Quap and Doom, probably the 2 most dangerous heroes at this point in the game. So he sees both of them top, just rotates mid. And he sees the Lion and Silencer mid, just goes to farm the jungle. Just keeping away from the dangerous heroes on the map is pretty important. And doing this is completely fine. Some people have this sort of fear of farming the jungle without their Battle Fury because they think it's inefficient. But if this is a place where you get farm, you just farm there. It's all it really is. And you are an agility carry with very good base attack time and damage. So you actually farm the jungle relatively fast even without your Battle Fury. You see, he sees 3 people on the map, knows it's safe to farm here, and he actually gets a kill with his team, so very nice. And a bit of a late global there. And surprisingly, I think he's actually going to push with his team here. Normally you don't see anti-mages do this because they like to be passive, but the way Black's been playing this game, he's actually been pretty aggressive. I think people kind of mistake farming with being passive. You can farm and still be aggressive and help your team. Radiant's middle tower is taking damage. And I think because of the way Black's been playing, he's one of the strongest heroes on the map, so if he's here with his team, there's very little chance that they lose a fight. And he's not losing on too much farm. Bottom lane is probably not farmable for him since there are too many heroes missing, and it's too pushed out. And top lane potentially could be a bait, so He's doing a pretty safe play here, I think, by farming, by pushing with his team. Excuse me. And very nicely done, getting the last hit on the tower. He does have his blink maxed by now. If you were sorry, I didn't talk about his skill progression. You want to have your blink level 3 or 4 at least when you get your Battle Fury. That's when it's going to be most important, because that's the time you use your blink the most, when you're going to farm the jungle with your Battle Fury. You don't really need high levels before that. As I said before, laning stage it's not too important. You only need it for escaping ganks. But he's close to his Battle Fury, so he makes sure he has his blink maxed out. There are certain timings that you want to have your skill points maxed out. You want to have Mana Break at level 4 and Manta at around the same time, so 23, 22 minutes, or whenever you get your Manta, you want to have Mana Break maxed out. And Spell Shield really depends. Usually when you decide to stop farming and start joining team fights, having Spell Shield maxed is pretty good. Or if they don't have a lot of magical damage, you can just leave it at low levels. You see a go on the bottom lane, and they're diving pretty deep, but they did catch out the Quap earlier, so there's not too much support. Understandable. Not too much Radiant can do here. Has been a pretty even game so far, but looks like Dire is pulling ahead by a little bit. And look at that, Black is always paying attention to what's on the map, ready for a TP, and it looks like he's going to get a counter kill here. And canceling the TP with Mana Void. Good play. You can always cancel TPs with Mana Void. It does go through BKB. There's a mini stun to it. And don't be afraid to use it. It is a pretty short cooldown. Only 60 seconds, I think. So don't be shy about just wasting the Mana Void. And his Battle Fury actually gets killed on the courier by the Doom. So it looks like what could have been a 16-minute Battle Fury treads at 900 gold is actually going to be like a 20-minute Battle Fury. But looking at his net worth right now, I'm assuming it's highest in the game. Definitely is 8,000. His GPM is probably like, it's 500, so very nice GPM. And I don't think his GPM will actually drop because his Battle Fury got killed. It's probably actually gonna go up because of the way he's been playing. Because of these intermediary items, he can still farm very fast, even without his Battle Fury. And look at that, he's being so aggressive on the Doom because he knows what can kill him and what can't. And also there's an Omni Knight behind him. So this looks like he's trying to bait something. He knows his team is behind him, so it's a pretty safe play to me. This Doom is, I don't know what he's doing. It's questionable. You see a Doom and immediate counter gank, and that's easy bait for Black.
Radiant's top tower has been denied. Bastards. Blessings.
Again, keeping track of the skills that you're afraid of and what you can get out of. Very important for all carries, but especially for Anti-Mage. As we see, he's going to farm the jungle here. And still without his Battle Fury, very sad feeling. It's like when you get a Radiance on Spectre or something and your courier dies. You know you could be farming like 2 times as fast if you had your item, but instead you're just hitting creeps one at a time. But it looks like he will actually get his Vlads at the same time as his Battle Fury, so 18 minutes Battle Fury Vlads, that's like normal timing actually, so even without his Battle Fury for a good 3 minutes, he still gets pretty decent timings. And again, he's still leveling stats over anything else. As I said before, you want to level Mana Break when you are close to your Manta, so I assume he's just going to keep leveling stats until he is feels relatively close to his Manta and all hit Mana Break. Notice how he's always TPing to a lane when the creep wave is near his tower. He's not really trying to blink around and find farm like deep into enemy territory, sort of waiting for it to come to him. He is, when he's on the enemy side of the map, he's usually with his team, helping them push. Sort of strange for Anti-Mage, but it is working out for him this game. Looks like that Battle Fury is finally coming on the courier. He is leading in net worth by quite a bit. And he is finally starting to level up Mana Break. So he knows his next item is going to be Manta. Going to start preemptively getting a few levels in Mana Break so that he'll have level 4 by the time it comes. And trying to stay away from his team when he's farming. You don't want to sort of take up the space of your allies, if that makes any sense. Like, people often talk about the problem with Naga is that you steal farm from your allies. And you can definitely do that as Anti-Mage as well. If you clear out your entire jungle, your team doesn't have the jungle to farm. And this is also something you can do once you get your Vlads. You can Roshan very easily. You have really high damage. The lifesteal is really nice with Vlads. And the Quelling Blade actually helps a lot. It actually increases your damage against Roshan, so rushing should be fairly simple. Just make sure that you blink in, you don't walk in, and having someone there to tank does help a little bit. So he's going to get the Roshan at 20 minutes, and this is already looking like a very, very good Anti-Mage game. I would say close to perfect, but being perfect at Dota is quite unreasonable to say. Another thing I forgot to mention that we'll be seeing more of since he just got his Battle Fury, I want you to pay attention to which creeps he hits when he is hitting creeps with his Battle Fury. There's probably going to be a fight breaking out soon, so I'll talk about it when he's actually hitting creeps. And good call from Max. And just going to hit stuff, Anti-Mage things. Yeah, his team is doing very well for him too, but Black is also farming extremely well. Okay, so we're going to look at how he farms the camps with his Battle Fury. And looks like he has his Manta soon, in about 1,000 gold. Okay, so he's gonna blink towards his ancient camp and watch what he does. Clicks the big creep once, and then he attacks each of the small creeps once as well. So he evens out the creeps so that when he hits the big creep again, he's gonna kill all of them in one swing with his Battle Fury. If he had just hit the big creep the whole time, he would have had to hit the big creep, like I would say maybe 1 or 2 hits more than he would need to. If he does this sort of, he spreads out his attacks, he limits the amount of hits he has to do. So watch this. If he hit that big creep one more time, the small creep wouldn't have died from the cleave, but instead he hit the small centaur. So the small centaur died from the main damage, and the large centaur died from the from the cleave damage. It was only 1 hit, but that sort of stuff really matters when you're farming, especially on Anti-Mage. It could mean the difference between like a blink cooldown or whatever. Just those kind of things really add up in terms of your GPM. And he's gonna go farm the ancients. There are some camps you have to hit the small creeps, some camps you don't. Knowing which one just comes with experience. I recommend you go to a lobby, sort of test it out. Just buy a Battle Fury on a hero and just hit the creeps. See how fast their HP goes down, etc. He does this with the lane creeps as well, but it's a bit less noticeable in terms of speed. It just ensures that he gets every last hit, and no creeps sort of pick off the low HP ones. Alright, so now he does have his Manta, and as we said before, he does have level 4 Mana Break now. Again, gonna even out the creeps. Oh, he got lazy this time. See what I mean? He just only hit the large creep, and then he had to waste 3 hits on the small creeps. Instead of he hit the 2 blue creeps once, he would have only had 2 hits on the blue creeps. So it's just 1 hit, but that stuff matters. We see a very aggressive blink, and even though he has Aegis, he's just gonna blink out, save his item. But as we can see, he's being very aggressive and applying a lot of pressure on the map, sort of making them scared to play, and this Doom looks like he's about to die. Yep. Just super aggressive play, and we see a little, I guess that's shit talk, because the Doom was the one who killed his Battle Fury. I don't know, I'm not sure what fish means, but maybe it's some Chinese insult. Alright, so next items. It is 24 minutes. He has Battle Fury, Vlad's Manta, very good farm. And we see a fight breaking out here. Not even going to use his Manta to dispel anything he doesn't need to. He knows that he can just right-click someone, and there's no danger of him dying. He doesn't need to Manta, just saving that cooldown for something really important if he's in any trouble. I see a lot of Anti-Mage players blink in and then pop their Manta immediately without taking into account what other spells there are. You really kind of want to hold your Manta, as that is your main spell for getting out of sticky situations, in case you do get silenced or whatever. And this Rax is going to go down. This game is pretty much over, I think. There's only a few minutes left, and as we can see, Black's GPM is through the roof. 740, even though his Battle Fury was delayed by 3 minutes. So this is pretty much a textbook AM game. Another thing you can do as AM that Black didn't really do this game because he was so far ahead. When you see people like Eternal Envy play AM, they do this thing where they sort of blink behind creep waves and cut waves, much like a I would say like a Tinker or a Slark would, where they sort of kill the wave behind the enemy heroes and they can get out because of their blinks or their mobility. You can do that as well in Anti-Mage. Didn't see it much because he didn't really need to do that since they were so far ahead. And he is going to go for Butterfly next. Just the full offensive build. Against this kind of lineup, if you were behind, an item like BKB would be decent. The Doom you can't really do too much about. Lincoln's I don't think is such a great pickup because there are so many ways to cancel it. But center Anti-Mage items include BKB, Heart, which I really don't like, Abyssal, just MKB if it's situational, stuff like that. And this game looks to be pretty much over, so I'm going to wrap up a little bit here. The main things you should focus on when playing Anti-Mage, just getting the correct items is super important, especially early to secure your farm. And then just forming patterns, knowing how to hit creeps properly, as I talked about before with the Battle Fury, and just knowing when to go to fights. Black was very good about joining his team and not really losing out on a lot of farm. It just comes down to feel mostly. Sort of know when your team needs you and when you can afford to just be farming. It's usually worth it to teleport in if you can secure a kill and you're not going to lose out on too much farm, because Anti-Mage is pretty mobile. Even if he TPs like across the map, he can get back in a relatively short amount of time. So at most you'll miss like 2 waves, and a kill is usually worth a wave and a little bit more since you damage the enemy economy. So usually worth it to TP in for kills. And yeah, I'm just going to let the rest of the game play out. This was pretty short and a bit of a stomp, at least more of a stomp than all my other games have been. But I just sort of wanted to showcase a very sort of precisely executed AM game. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next hero. And Black going a bit YOLO there.
None shall withstand me. No sorceries avail. Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked. Radiant's middle tower is taking damage. Make that 2. Radiant's middle tower is being attacked. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is taking damage. No more middle tower for Radiant. Radiant's Ancient taking enemy